that do for you energetically? I'm all in, right? Are you guys? One thing I know about Unity of Fort Myers is you are a beautiful family. You love each other. And in loving each other, sometimes it shows up differently than we had planned. But it's still there to love. One thing Christina said to me last week that stuck with me is the roots of Unity of Fort Myers go deep. Did I say that last week? Yes. Okay, so I'm saying it again. Thank you, Karen. And part of the reason the roots are so deep is because of Jim and Nancy Rosemary. When I look out and I see them, I see the Unity movement moving forward. You know, we're ready to let go of what's holding us back and being authentically who we are, true students, but practicing principles in a way that wakes the world up. So yesterday, I had a delightful experience. We had our first pet blessing. Yay! And I want to thank Tracy, Connie, Barbara, and Russ, Steve, Donna. It was seamless. Jan, where are you? How can I forget you, Jan? Way up in the heavens. There you are. But everything just flowed yesterday, and I saw what a team really looks like. When no matter what, you've got each other's backs. Where whatever happens, you know it's happening for the best. And the pets were terrific. I didn't have any snakes, so that was good. No spiders, so that was great. I thought about bringing Rudy, but to get him into the car would have killed me. He would have shredded me. But whatever we are doing here, we're doing with the energy of love, the energy of accepting each other in new and exciting ways. You know, the flow that happens when a community comes together and is clear, intentional about the mission that we're about, it's miraculous. It's miraculous. So today, you're probably scratching your head and saying, dare to be brave. What's that have to do with the spiritual journey? Is anyone scratching their head, or do y'all get it? When you step on that spiritual path, it takes all the courage you can find in your heart to move through your own stuff, to learn how to self-love, to learn how to self-correct, to learn how to dive deeply into that which we don't want to. You know, we pretend, we put on masks, we act as if we should behave a certain way. Well, behavior is important, and it is important to hold the people you love and the people around you accountable for their behavior, but it is also important to understand, to have an understanding heart. So we're taking a look at, for the next 5 weeks, at Brene Brown's book, The Gifts of Imperfection. And I know last week I told you you're whole, perfect, and complete just as you are. And that's the truth. You have a soul pattern for perfection. That you don't have to fix or change or control yourself, but you must love yourself and become aware of the ways we block our loving energy from coming forth. And I think this is a wonderful book. It's in the bookstore, Connie, isn't it?
Yes.
And so if any of you would like to take a look, we have it in the bookstore. I also have in the back an assignment, if you want to follow along, what pages to read and questions to answer, so we can dive deeply into giving up shame and blame. Is that a good idea? I think this community's ready for it, don't you? Yeah. So dive deeply is what we're going to be doing. Last week we talked about healing prayers, and I'm reminded of Luke 10, 25 to 37 is one of my favorite commandments and parables. You know, this lawyer was kind of trying to trip Jesus up when he asked, what is the greatest commandment? And Jesus said, what does it say in the law? And the lawyer said, you shall love your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind. So it's all of it. It's heart, mind, soul, spirit, connected in a way that we love God and we love each other. And then to love ourselves as our neighbor. So the lawyer says, so who's my neighbor? Who's our neighbor? Everyone. Everyone. No matter what. It requires us to dig deep within ourselves to look at the ways we shut down from each other. You know what I mean? You're sitting in a meeting or a class or out to dinner or lunch with someone, and all of a sudden you begin to feel yourself shutting down, your heart kind of closing. And it's important to take a look at why. What is it in me that I need to recognize to stay open, to stay vulnerable? Because we can't love each other without being vulnerable, right? Do you know how vulnerable you have to be to stand up and open yourself? And to say, okay, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart inspire, may they comfort, and also may they afflict the comfortable. Nowhere in any spiritual book does it say, and you will be comfortable all of your life if you just, just love God, love each other. Oh, I do. Yes, my heart is open. I've forgiven everybody. There's nothing I hold against myself or anyone else. But the truth of the matter is, Brene Brown has done a lot of investigation into shame. And why do we need to look at shame? Because in New Thought we know we're all perfect and complete. We're the light of God in expression. Sort of. Kinda. Sometimes. Not always. So how do we express more of who we truly are and quit stopping ourselves from shining our light? How do we do that? Can you think of a moment in the past week where you maybe judged somebody? Or shut down when somebody said something? And kept your mouth quiet, but your heart wasn't open. So Brene says the imperfections we have give us gifts that we wouldn't always have. And the gifts of imperfections are courage, compassion, and what you express so well, connection. Connection. I don't think anyone's come to see me in the time I've been here that hasn't talked about, oh, I love this family. I love this family. I don't always agree with it. And I have different opinions than maybe are showing up in the family. And there's certain behaviors that I think could be changed. If you would just change yourself, just change you, and then I'll be happy. Right? Those three fingers pointing back at you are telling you something. If we don't look at what's going on inside of ourselves, then we cannot transform. We cannot move forward. We cannot truly love. And we're blocking an amazing, miraculous power. Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is where? And right here, right now. So what are we worrying about? Does anyone have anything they're concerned about or worried about? Or fear? Or feel shameful about? Let's get over it. Let's get over it by loving one another. And there's certain ways that we can express our love. You don't walk up to just anybody and pour your heart out. I tried. It really doesn't work. I decided I was going to be courageously wide open and open-hearted in my life. And I decided that at 30. I'm not sure why I thought I was strong enough, but I knew I was. I knew that love changed me. That when I shifted my thoughts, my emotions, my beliefs, my conclusions, that something wonderful happened. And I knew love in a completely different way. Agape love, unconditional love. What does that mean? Without conditions, right? How many people in your life do you love without conditions? It's a challenge. It's a challenge. It is a great work, and one that Jesus called us to. To love ourselves and love our neighbor, to love our enemies, to love everybody, to forgive, to give up that which is blocking our good. Do you know how hard that is? Does anybody understand how hard it is to let go of our firmly held beliefs and surrender, to wave that flag and go, I give up. Your way, not my way. But the thing about it is, it's not about giving up. It's about accepting what is. If we accept what is right now before me and within me, then there's a space created for miracles, for Holy Spirit to move through us. I love to have an experience of God in relationships with people. That's how I know God. When I listen to Christina and watch her look into Maria's eyes and speak those words, I go, wow, she's really guiding Maria in this moment. And what a privilege it is to be able to watch that. To be able to share wisdom with each other, because even though we think we have all the answers, we don't. We don't. Our heart is meant to be open and soft, not closed and hard. But it takes courage. The root word of courage is core, heart. And so it doesn't mean we're not afraid. It just means we're not going to let the fear stop us. We're going to be me no matter what anybody thinks of me. Is that scary to you? It is to me sometimes. I go, wow. I'm to be me no matter what anyone thinks of me. Have you ever walked into a room and knew that you were being judged? Did that feel loving? Ever have a parent yell at you? Did you learn anything from that? No, we learned to shut down, didn't we? And the thing is, as we get older, we realize the voice in our head that we attribute to our parent is our voice. Our parents are long gone. Well, mine are long gone. It's my voice telling me these ridiculous loops over and over again, that somehow I'm not worthy, that I don't deserve. Who am I? Who am I? You know, I had an experience at Unity Village where somebody said to me, who are you to be taking on this project? My one loop in my brain that can shut me down. And it was somebody I really respected and loved. Who am I? And I said, I'm here. I'm present. I was willing to put this together. So, I'm here. That's me. This is me. And the person looked at me, and I could see the shift that happened. You don't have to have a position. You don't have to be called minister or director or board member or whatever to be powerful. We are powerful just as we are, but we block our power with our fear and our shame. Brene Brown has studied and researched shame for over 15 years. And she didn't want to study shame, because who wants to hear about shame? Anyone here want to hear about shame? Anyone here want to heal, transform, be closer, be empowered, be excited to be here whenever we can? This is a church that something's going on 7 days a week. And so part of what's going on is on Tuesdays, I'll be doing a class after the meditation at 1 o'clock, and I want us to dive deep into this book, to dig into it. You know, Brene said when she quit pushing against and realized that resilient people dig deep within themselves, that it was much easier. We all know how to make life harder, don't we? Let's work with making it easier. And one of the ways we can make it easier is being able to tell ourselves the truth and to share with one another what's happening to us. I feel blank because of this. Fill in the blank. Don't say, you made me feel this way. Nobody makes you feel anyway, do they? And I'm not, please don't hear me preaching. I'm preaching to myself. You know, I want to be as loving as I possibly can be. I want to be as courageous, as compassionate, as connected as I can be. So if you hear a preaching tone in my voice, know I'm preaching to me along with it. What is the emotion that I don't want to face? What am I afraid of? What stops me from shining my light? We've all got the light. It's just the mind that keeps chattering away at us that tells us we don't. So it takes courage. Recently at Unity Worldwide Ministries, our CEO and our CFO resigned. So Unity Worldwide, now Jim Blake is still the CEO of Unity Headquarters, but this is Unity Worldwide. So it's the support system for our churches. And both these people resigned within weeks of each other. So, what did Monkey Mind do with that? Donna Johnson was here right before she went home and resigned. You loved her up. And the fact of the matter is, the acting CEO is a wonderful minister by the name of Reverend Patricia Bass, and you can see her message on unity.org. But she talks about change and what change means. Constantly having another new growth experience Do you ever wish it wasn't about you? I can remember saying that to my mother, and she said, well, who would it be about? Use it. What our life experience is there for us. It's not against us. So having the courage to tell ourselves the truth, to look at what we're afraid of, to look at what we feel ashamed of, is really important to living a wholehearted life. And so, what does it mean to be wholehearted? It means to be certain that this is me. This is me. The words that I'm speaking, this is me. You that are sitting there in the congregation, you are a part of this co-creation of what we are doing here, and things are going incredibly well for Unity of Fort Myers. Can you feel the difference? Can you really, really feel it? Because it is, I just love watching the miracles that are happening. So we need courage. Find courage in our heart. Doesn't mean we're not afraid. We just say, okay, I'm afraid, but nevertheless, I'm going ahead. So to dig deep, we need to be deliberate about our spiritual practices. To pray, to meditate, to be intentional with the actions we take, right? So are these just words that we say? No. No, this is a community that prays together, that meditates together, that is about another growth experience. Woo-hoo. Here we go. I'm all in. So, Brene Brown in the book has an interesting definition of compassion. I'm kicking off my shoes, you guys. They don't look like they've got heels, but my knee is talking to me. And I love to move. So compassion, in her definition, is having boundaries and accountability. Because compassion is love in action. Charles Fillmore said it's a characteristic of love in action. It's a characteristic of love. It's a characteristic of strength. It's a characteristic of a willingness to be all in, to not hold something back. So compassion means to not only empathize with the other person, but to take their hand and say, come on, let's go forward. I got your back here. What's some strategies we can put together? And in that compassionate action, transformation happens. There's a wisdom that is released that won't come through your own mind, but comes through your heart and your actions. When you're willing, just like me. You know, everybody hurts sometime. An affirmation doesn't make them feel good. Trust me. I've been in this business a long time. My mother has affirmed many, many conditions that my mind would say, no, but now I understand what she meant by affirming the truth, not giving power to the condition. So that's what self-love is and self-mastery is that digging deep within ourselves and saying, hey, I don't want to be perfect. But I should be perfect, right? Because every one of you are sitting there thinking, well, why doesn't she do this? Why? A minister should, right? A minister should wear shoes. When I was in ministerial school, you couldn't wear open-toed shoes, you know, because that was scandalous. If anybody saw your toes, of course I put toenail polish on now, but times are changing, and change is good. And it is confusing and chaotic, but it can be fun. It can be fun. But we have to shift from our routine thoughts and actions. No more automatic pilot. You got to wake up. What does that mean when I have a tendency to be a smart aleck? I don't know if anyone can relate to that. I do know a few people that can. Here. But sometimes it's not appropriate. Really. Yeah, when the minister's giving a talk, don't tell her she missed a point. So it's being compassionate and seeing that that was a reaction that came up, but it wasn't really who I am, that there is a response that comes deeper. So being deliberate with my prayer and meditation, to be intentional with my energy, to inspire myself, to look for inspiration around me and then within me. And then to go all in, to go into action. So this is what I want to share with all of you. You want to be all in?
Yes.
Are you interested in transformation?
Yes.
Are you interested in being right? That's a hard one, isn't it? To give up being right. That my idea is the best idea. It's one of the ideas, but not necessarily the best idea. The best idea comes from something that we never were thinking about. Do you know what I mean? Your heart bursts open, you go, oh, I see it differently. I see that person differently. I see how much we're alike. So let's be all in with each other. Let's show up, let's pray up, let's listen, and let's do what we are called to do. And instead of shutting down because of the shadow within us, allow us to be inspired by the light that pours forth when we open our hearts. Game on? Game on. So I'll see those of you who want to come to the class on Tuesday afternoons, I'll see you there. Michelle is doing a class on Sunday afternoons. There are other hosts. Who else have signed up to host a group? Pardon me? Yes, I know. But I'm talking about this book, okay? But thanks for wanting to help me. See, everybody's helping. I know, it's all good. So now let's move into a time of connection, of holy union, of knowing the truth of who we are and being that truth in action. Of being the Good Samaritan, to not care about how somebody should behave, but care about how we serve them. So as we turn within for a time of meditation, let us let go, relax, open ourselves to something new and different. your breath inward and focus your attention on the space behind your heart. Allow it. Whatever emotion's there, allow it to be there. And let it go. No story needed. No judgment. No shame or blame, but just allowing and accepting. Our heart relaxes. Our breathing deepens. And in the stillness, we connect with who we truly are. And so for a couple of moments now, let's just be still together. Let's simply be open-hearted, wholehearted, courageous, compassionate, and connected with each other on this beautiful world we live in. And as we bring our awareness back to this time and space, we know we're so much more than our fear. We allow love to define us, to cause us to act in service to the beauty that surrounds us, the beauty within us, the beauty in all others.